Assalamu alaikum class. Today we have to start the second part of chapter 6, tracheophytes. Tracheophyte divided into two parts, that is, trachea means vessel and phyton means the plant. So we have to say that tracheophytes are the plants which have vascular tissues or conducting ducts in them. I think you know about these conducting ducts because you know about the conducting ducts of Brassica campestris, which you have studied in class 8. What these conducting ducts are? Xylem and phloem. Xylem are those vascular tissue which conducts water, which is absorbed by the roots to all parts of the plant, whereas phloems are those vascular tissues which conducts prepared food from the leaves to all parts of the plants. Whereas these vascular tissues also gives rigidity and support to the plant body. What do you mean by rigidity and support? Rigidity is the straightness and erect plant which occurs due to presence of water in all the cells of the plant. The plant cell becomes so tight or turgid which produce the rigidity. When the plants respire in daytime through the stomata, that is the loss of water in a form of water vapors. So again, when the plant absorbs more water from the plant and we give the water to the plant, it will absorb it and then becomes so fresh or erect. So it means that vascular tissues gives rigidity or support to the plant. Whereas another important point of tracheophytes is all the tracheophytes have well developed true roots, stem and leaves. Whereas the first part of this chapter was bryophytes, which have pseudostem and leaves and no true root. So this types of tracheophytes have well developed roots, stem and leaves. Similarly, they have vary in height, means different heights are there from miniature to giant size. The good example is redwood tree. And very important point of tracheophytes is it shows alternation of generation. In these tracheophytes, sporophyte generation is dominant and totally independent, whereas in bryophytes gametophyte generation was dominant or totally independent. So we have to say that these two types of plants, that are sporophyte and gametophyte generation, occurs alternately in both of them, that is in bryophytes and tracheophytes. Now tracheophytes also have two types. Number one, pteridophyte, or we say them as seedless plants. They don't have seeds in them. The second type of tracheophyte are spermatophytes. These plants producing the seeds, so we have to say them seed producing plants. Now the first part, that is pteridophytes, divided into 4 groups. Number one, Coelopsida. The example is Coelopsids. Number two, Lycopsida. The example is club mosses. Number 3, Phenopsida, horsetails. Horsetails are the example of Synopsida. Pteridopsida, the examples are ferns. The second type, that is spermatophyte, having seeds in them, are divided again into 2 types, that are gymnosperm and angiosperm. Gymnosperms have naked seeds in them. The examples are cycad and conifers, whereas angiosperms having seeds present in the fruits. These type of plants are again subdivided into 2. Number 1, monocotyledons. That means the seed has only a single cotyledon. The second one is dicotyledons, means the seed having 2 cotyledons in it. Class, I am explaining the 2 examples of tracheophytes, that are Pteris and Adiantum. These 2 examples are very, very important for you, because these examples you have as a question, write a note in the board exams. So please, I am starting to explain the first example, Pteris. This plant is found in wild state in some regions of Punjab, but inside the Sindh it is used as a common ornamental plant. The main plant is a sporophyte having adventitious roots, underground stem rhizome, and pinnately compound leaves called fronds, and sporangias are present in sori, found under the surface of sporangium. These sporangias are present under the surface of these fronds, and these sporangia produces the spores, and then these spores develops into gametophyte. ठीक. Now the second example of the tracheophyte is adiantum. Adiantum plant is also grows in the wild. It resembles like pteris except the shape. The main plant is also sporophyte, a small herb. एक छोटी सी, जैसे आप लोगों ने झाड़ियाँ देखी हैं, उस तरह की ये एग्जाम्पल है एडियंटम की. एक स्मॉल सी झाड़ी है या हर्ब हम जिसे कहते हैं, एंड इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ रूट. Roots are fibrous and adventitious, which are present at the lower side of rhizome. Then the stem. A stem is short or thick rhizome. Then the leaves are large and pinnately compound. I think class, you know what is compound leaf? A single leaf having a very small leaflets in them. So this type of pinnately compound leaves is in that way that leaflets are arranged in alternate manner. Means there is a difference or distance between the two leaflets. They are not in a parallel way. And a very important thing is this, that lower pinnae means the small leaves at the lower side further divided into number of pinnules, and at the under surface or the lower surface of the margin of fertile pinnules occurs the sori. What is the sori? Sori is the plural of sorus. Each sorus consists of a small spore producing body which are called sporangia. Sporangia is also plural. Sporangium is the singular which produce spores from it. Similarly, like pteris, adiantum also produce spores from sporangium, and these spores develops into a small gametophyte called prothallus. All of you know that in bryophyte state, prothallus are there as a gametophyte because they don't have a true root, stem and leaf, which are called pseudo stem and leaves. Okay? So please, you have to draw these two diagrams in front of these notes. Second part of tracheophyte is spermatophytes. Sperma means seed and phyton means plants. We have to say that spermatophytes are those plants which producing the seeds, or we have to say that spermatophytes are the seed producing plants. These spermatophytes are divided into two major groups, gymnosperm and angiosperm. Gymnosperm is the plant which have naked seeds in them. Means we have to see with our eyes the seeds present in that type of plants, and that seeds are called cones. Whereas angiosperms having seeds in the fruits. So they have angiospermic flowers, have ovules enclosed in ovary. This angiosperm divided into two major groups, monocotyledons and dicotyledons. बेटे हम लोग ने स्पर्मेटोफाइट्स यानी कि सीड प्रोड्यूसिंग प्लांट्स को दो मेजर ग्रुप्स में डिवाइड किया, दैट आर एंजियोस्पर्म्स एंड जिम्नोस्पर्म्स. एंजियोस्पर्म की एग्जांपल आप लोगों ने ब्रासिका कॉम्पेस्ट्रस के नाम से क्लास 8 में पढ़ी है, एंड यू हैव स्टडीड अबाउट द होल प्लांट ऑफ ब्रासिका प्लांट विथ फ्लावर. ठीक है. नाउ in gymnosperms a very small plant is there which is called thoja plant. The other name of this thoja plant is moorpunk. This is an important question as a board exam, so please, I am explaining and then you have to write, and I will give you answer in few points. So what the thoja plant is? This thoja plant is also known as moorpunk. It is a short conical tree grown as ornamental plant in homes and parks. और सबसे अच्छी बात ये कि आप लोग इसको इस तरीके से अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हो बेटे कि शादियों के वक्त जिस वक्त गाड़ी सजी हुई आती है तो आप लोग अक्सर देखते होंगे कि ग्रीन से लीफ लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स होते हैं और उस पर रेड कलर का फ्लावर लगा हुआ होता है. तो ये इट इज़ नॉट अ प्रॉपर लीफ, इट इज़ अ वेरी स्मॉल ब्रांच्ड स्ट्रक्चर हैविंग ए स्केल लीव्स, ग्रीन स्केल लीव्स आर देयर. तो ये इसकी एग्जाम्पल है कि इट इज़ used in decorating the cars and the stage too. So this moorpunk plant is branched and covered with small dark green leaves or scale leaves. In this plant, the female cones are there which are spherical or oval in shape and about the size of a spherical fruit, which is locally called bear or berry. And these cones consist of hard brown color scales with triangular apex. Triangular apex means कि इस plant के अंदर not proper leaves, very small branches of leaf scales are there, and at the apex, at the top of that triangle कैसे बनता है जब दो branches जो हैं ये प्रोड्यूस होती हैं, तो at the apex, at the top of it, a small berry is there. Now you have to see and draw the diagram of moorpunk or apex, and we have to say it as shoots of gymnosperm. ठीक है बेटा. तो ये छोटा सा इसका क्वेश्चन है, ये एग्जाम्पल है जिम्नोस्पर्म प्लांट की. तो आप लोग बेटा इसको ड्रॉ करें और कंप्लीट करें. नाउ क्लास, I am explaining the differences between dicot and monocot plants, and you have to write as a question difference between dicot and monocot plants later on as a differences. You make a column and then write. So first I have to explain the dicot plant. What is dicot plant? Dicot plant is the plant in which the seed of that plant containing two cotyledons means seed having two seed leaves. पहले भी मैंने आपको बताया बेटे कि इसकी गुड एग्जाम्पल पीनट की है, पीस की है. तो डाइकॉट मीन्स having two cotyledons. These dicot plants having the roots mostly branched tap roots. All of you know the roots of the plant develop from the radicle of the seed. When the seed comes down, it will divide it into primary, secondary and tertiary roots. So this type of root is called taproot. And the stem of dicot plants are mostly branched, whereas their leaves are broad and having reticulate venation. What do you mean by reticulate venation? All of you know that surface of the leaf have a single midrib in between, then the branches of the midribs are the venation, and reticulate means if the difference, a small difference between the veins is called reticulate venation. The vascular bundles of dicot plants are arranged in a ring form, a circular form, means xylem, phloem, like that. The good examples are sunflower, mustard, mango, almond, gram, chana, orange, etc. Now come on monocot plant. Mono means single. So monocot plants are those plants which produces seeds containing single cotyledon. Their roots are mostly adventitious roots, means no taproot is there. At the base, when the seed start to grow, it will branched root or fibrous roots. Their stems are mostly unbranched, not branch stems are there. Their leaves are narrow and large with parallel venation. Means narrow means straight, and parallel venation means at the midrib equally the veins are there, means in a parallel way, not the difference between two veins or the distance. Their vascular bundles are dispersed, means they are present after a difference, not arranged in a ring. The examples are, I told you before, the good example of monocot plant is rice, grass, corn, etc.